Hey everyone, it's Izzy Eze,
along with Tembi, and welcome to Somewhat Grown,
a podcast about adulting from two 30-somethings just figuring it out
and embracing the process. Hello, welcome back to episode 10 of season 3.
Hey everyone. 10, that's crazy.
Episode 10, this is our 30th episode.
Yeah, happy 30th.
Happy 30th! And yeah, I guess late Happy New Year too. With our
True.
first episode of 2026.
Oh my gosh.
How are you feeling?
How am I feeling about the 30th episode? I don't know, it feels weird. I just remember when we were talking about starting the podcast and to be on episode 30 is amazing, to be honest with you. Season 3 and with video, because I didn't think we'd end up doing that, I'm not gonna lie. So this is different, but yeah, I'm good. I'm tired, but I'm good, and I think it's a nice accomplishment to have, if you know what I mean.
Yeah,
What
definitely.
about you?
I'm with you. You know what? I wasn't actually necessarily thinking about when we started the podcast, but I was talking
Yeah.
to my housemate and she asked, because I was saying, yeah, I'm gonna just record the podcast, and she was asking what made us start it? And yeah, it made me think
Oh.
about where we were and what spurred us to kind of want to have these conversations about adulting, and just thinking about how vulnerability is such a big thing to us, and just kind of being very open and honest about the process of
Yeah.
figuring things out. And
Yeah.
yeah, it's nice to see how we've stayed true to that throughout, I think.
Definitely. It's giving we need to do a recap or something, like a watching ourselves back or something and saying oh, why did I say that? You know what I mean? I'd be so curious 3 years ago to hear how I sound and thoughts, and then talk about it. But that's for
Yeah,
another time.
the time for sure, for sure.
Yeah.
But for this time, well, we wanted to talk about or explore the question of time is money, and how do you steal it back, or how do you fight to protect it when there are just so many constant demands? And I think that it feels like when we have these topics like this, it's always kind of interesting to think about how recent conversations I've had with friends also have been about the same thing.
Yeah.
Or even not even on purpose, but people have just mentioned or talked about or expressed just the struggle of trying to juggle and also protect your
Okay.
time.
Okay, rhyming. Sorry. I'm childish. It's fine. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, and just
Mhm.
kind of getting into that. And I don't know about you, but I feel like also coming into the new year, there is this idea of okay, fresh energy, fresh intentions, fresh goals for a lot of us. But
Mhm.
sometimes the rest in between the end of the last year and the new year is not enough. There's still
Mm.
lingering stresses and strains, and yeah, it feels like there's not always that vim to always necessarily do that. So it
Yeah.
feels, yeah, I don't know, it feels like it resonates to talk about this right now.
It's funny because that's kind of where I am at the moment. It's I felt good by the fact that I set my vision, I created my vision board. It's not in here today, but I created my vision board for this year, because
Mm,
last year it was halfway through the year that I created it, but I was I'm still gonna do it. But this
mm,
time around I'm on the ball, 1st of Jan, I'm ready to go.
mm.
Um, but the energy is not matching, if that makes sense. You know what I mean? It's oh yeah, I'm gonna do this, and then I come home, I'm right, so fish and chips and do nothing. Literally, that's what it's actually feeling like.
Yeah.
So, and I think definitely the 9 to 5 can be draining, but it's everything in between. I think maybe even the weight, the pressure of even trying to achieve, it can be something that stops you from achieving. It's crazy, but
Mm,
yeah, that's kind of, I need to just figure that out right now. So
mm.
this is a good topic to talk about.
Yeah. Yeah, and we are figuring it out, in bringing up this topic, we are not going to pretend to have the answers necessarily.
At
I think
all. At
it
all.
is literally, it is us live, as always, figuring it out. So
Mhm.
that's the spirit that we're coming into the conversation with. And I guess to kick us off, should we start with a word of the day?
Yeah,
To it?
yeah, that's it. Okay. Oh, actually, I have a silly Billy, even though we haven't done that in a
Oh
long
my
time.
gosh, yeah, go.
So the Silly Billy Awards goes to me. I'm gonna just say it right now. But I feel like I've told you this, Tembi. So essentially, sleep is important. Sleep is important, and that probably will tie into this episode. But
Mm,
like, I went to bed at stupid o'clock a couple weeks ago, and that basically resulted in me missing my stop on the way to work by a couple of stops, missing my stop on the way back from work by a couple of stops, jumping on a train twice and then jumping right off because I realized I'm not on the like I'm on the right platform, but I'm not on the right train. It was crazy. Like I was
I
like,
think you jumped on the train, got off, jumped back on.
yep, got off again. So this was the morning, right? So
Yeah.
I'm sleep deprived trying to get to work on a journey that I normally do. So I'm getting to work. I'm on the Elizabeth line and I miss my stop. I hear it and I miss it. I'm like, yeah, that's Farringdon. And it just keeps going. I'm like, sorry, Farringdon, Farringdon because you're supposed to get off at Farringdon. Do you know what I mean? Like it registered and nothing happened. I finally get off there. Then I go on my next train. I hop on that train and off that train twice because
Mhm,
even though I'm on the right platform, I'm like not on the right train. Does that make sense? I'm
mhm.
like, wow. I'm sure the people like the train conductors and people looking at me like, what is this girl doing? Playing hopscotch. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, that day was crazy. And then on the way back, still missed my stop because I was tired, and then got splashed by the bus on the way home. So that was fun. Um,
Brutal, man.
that was fun. I
Yeah.
was like, I'm proud of how I reacted. I was just like, it's cool. I'm getting splashed. It's cool. I'm not gonna do anything about this, even though I'm drenched. It's fine. Um, so that's
Well,
growth. That's growth, if you ask
it
me.
is. No, we celebrate that. Absolutely. And as you're sharing yours, actually, you inspired me to remember mine.
Okay, go
Um,
ahead.
Also connecting to being sleep deprived,
Mm,
and tired last week. I don't know if I shared this specific part of it with you, actually.
okay.
I was working and I had a online meeting on Teams with my team. It was more of a training, so I just needed to be logged on listening, right?
Mm-hmm.
I log on, had food with me, and I'm eating while the training's happening. It's like
Mm-hmm.
5 minutes into it, and they're like introducing what it's about. And it was
Yeah.
about like how to manage volunteers because we do a lot of events.
Mm-hmm.
And then the person is like, so one of the things to be aware of is volunteers shouldn't ever do this specific thing. And one of them was like,
Mm-hmm.
volunteers shouldn't take money from the public. Like that's one of the jobs you shouldn't give them. And then
Mm-hmm.
I literally was like listening, making my own out loud commentary and was like, but volunteers stay taking money though. Then I realized I'm not on mute. I literally was not on mute. And I'm saying it with food in my mouth. I think the one saving thing is it sounded muffled because I didn't say it too loud.
Yeah, yeah.
Like I
Oh
literally
my
just like I could see a couple of colleagues in the background just like smirking, and I just muted myself. Did not acknowledge it. It's not going to be acknowledged ever.
Not the not acknowledging. That's
Yeah, yeah, yeah. We're not going to talk about it. No, we're not gonna talk about
and nobody asked.
it. It just carried on. There was just like the trainer just did a face like,
What's so awkward?
oh yeah.
She's gonna not address something so funny like that. Oh my gosh. Brilliant. No, you win. You win. That is
Yes.
so funny.
Gotta check your mute
Funny.
button. It's dangerous. Yeah.
Listen, like talking to yourself is not easy, because you don't realize like how much you do that, and then other people listening in. It's crazy. Oh, that is brilliant. You win. You win. Cool. Oh, but random word generator. Okay, cool. So the word of the day is thrust.
Hey, I'm literally thinking of like Elvis Presley moves.
Thrust? I'm thinking thrust upon us.
Mm,
You
mm,
know?
mm, mm.
I'm thinking the idea of the 9 to 5 feeling forced, feeling maybe forced on us, or feeling like the norm, perhaps. And because of that, we don't necessarily think about our options,
Mm-hmm.
because it's kind of like, this is just how things are, this is how things are done, and this is what we do. Do we ever have time to kind of pause and consider other options?
Mm-hmm.
And not just consider it, but actually do it, and move forward with it, and not be so afraid of risk,
Yeah.
um, and the lack of steadiness that comes with that. The lack of stability that comes with
Mm-hmm.
risk. Yeah, that's kind of what I'm thinking.
Risks in relation to what? Because I guess I'm
Yeah.
assuming you mean big life decisions.
Yeah, I'm talking big life decisions, or just I'm talking like not having a 9 to 5, for instance. Like
Okay.
you could say that the opposite is being freelancer or a contractor or whatever, right? But the opposite is just not having perhaps the same income that comes in every single month,
Yeah.
perhaps.
Yeah.
So you would argue that that is a risk, because
Yeah.
it doesn't allow you to have that stability that you need. But it basically takes your life into your own hands. You now take your life into your own hands, your finances and everything around it.
Yeah.
Whereas, if you just join a company or a corporation, you're just like, okay, cool, I'm here now.
Mm-hmm.
And every month on this exact date, I'm gonna get this exact amount of money.
Mm-hmm.
But maybe life isn't necessarily like that.
Mm-hmm.
So how do we how do we process that if we are looking to switch gears? I don't know.
Mm.
Yeah, that's me.
Yeah, no, those are like really big questions, and I think I almost feel like we need to kind of circle back to them
Mm,
as we're getting into it. But I think in terms of the word thrust, yeah, I think similar to you, I think about just the force of it
mm,
and how, yeah, like it was interesting that one thing you said there as well is about not having the time to pause,
mm,
and also just thinking about how it takes headspace in and of itself to pause. Like
mm,
it occupies something as well. Like pause isn't just something you can automatically be in. It's
mm-hmm,
something you actually have to carve space out for.
mm-hmm,
And I think that's something I really like appreciated, not only actually when it comes to work, but even when it comes to rest or like holiday. I'm
yeah.
thinking about like thinking about I was in South Africa in December, and
Oh,
obviously it was great. I had an amazing time. One of my best friends got married. It was beautiful.
yeah.
But sleep deprivation was me like the first 2 weeks.
Really?
For real, I was
Oh
literally
my
sleep
gosh.
deprived for like the first 2 weeks, like or the
Because
first.
of the wedding stuff.
Yeah, it was quite a lot of like
Oh my
really
gosh.
fun and exciting socializing weddings things around it.
Yeah.
But I think, and we thankfully had space to adjust because we
Mm,
realized, oh, actually, this is like great, but also a little bit full on, and maybe we could have a little pause in between.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
And just realizing the difference that it made to like in the in between days, not try and do another big activity solo, but actually spend that solo time resting, like doing
mm,
minimal things.
mm-hmm,
And the way that that helps to like actually process things and actually
mm-hmm,
feel like I'm being present and can actually
mm-hmm.
take in that I'm in South Africa and I'm enjoying just this
Yeah.
environment.
Yeah.
And I genuinely think that I would have missed that if I didn't have that space, even if sometimes it's like 5 minutes. And yeah, so I think that that's made me really value just pause in general. I've been calling it moments of ma.
Hmm.
Ma is like this Japanese term that means like quiet space or like empty space or like an
Okay.
interval. And it means
Mm,
like just space to like nothing, just to like either
mm,
process or be in it. And I do feel like yeah, I'm constantly just like trying to find even like small moments of that because otherwise I do literally feel like I'm just literally going and being pushed around on
mm-hmm,
everything. And
mm-hmm,
I feel like if I'm watching myself, it probably also looks like that in some ways because I'll literally like getting up, okay, gotta shower, gotta get breakfast now,
mm-hmm,
gotta sit at my desk by a certain time, it's like
mm-hmm.
always constant
Go, go, go. Yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
and it's draining. Yeah.
Absolutely. What
Yeah.
do we do about that?
What do we do
The
about
mo-
it? Yeah.
yeah, the moments of Mark, like, I guess, where did you get that from? Like, and why now, if that makes sense? Like, why have you decided to do that now? And also, how does it feel to have those moments of quiet? That's a lot of questions, but feel free to answer any of them, if that
Okay.
makes sense.
I think in terms of where did it come from, I
Mm,
think I was generally just thinking about ma from like just thinking about where I notice it, whether it's in like
mm-hmm,
maybe Japanese film where they'll just have these
Mm.
moments where nothing's really happening, but it's like background stuff. And you
Mm-hmm.
can also process what's happening in the film, but
Yeah.
also just like how it applies in daily life. And
Mm-hmm.
where I'm maybe going on a walk, or I'm literally just
Mm.
like sitting on my bed and not doing anything, but I'm just having a moment of just being like, it's daylight or it's whatever day, and I'm just having a moment of
Yeah.
just being grounded. I
Yeah.
guess it's a mindful practice, I would say,
Mm-hmm.
maybe that I've
Mm-hmm.
maybe accidentally developed,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
that I've noticed helps me. I can't remember your other question, sorry.
No, no, that's fine. I guess I was asking like why now? Like, but it seems like it's something you've been doing for a long time and now you're naming it, or what would you say? Is it different now compared to, because with, I guess in the in the question of like how do you steal time back? It's almost like you're saying I'm stealing the time back by resting, you know, but how does that work for people that are maybe thinking that resting is a waste of time, you know? So I'm just curious about why now, why you're thinking of that now, and how that maybe helps you with stealing time.
I think it isn't about stealing time back. I think it is, I feel like, without sounding like crazy or woo-woo, I feel like I randomly had just this revelation that, I mean, it's not a revelation because I think it's something that people know and understand, but I feel like I had a very, very deep moment of understanding it deeply. Just how when you, instead of like watching the time and trying to fill it with things, and instead just like do nothing and just observe the smallest things. I don't know if I told you about when I just like was like watching the sky for like
Mm,
ages. Um,
mm,
it just made me appreciate how like even like things are always moving.
mm-hmm.
Literally in the smallest ways, things are constantly moving. Nothing is ever still. Time is always moving, all these things. And I feel like we can miss so much of life or even feeling present in life when we are doing the same thing and we don't take time to just stop and
Yeah,
take it in.
yeah, yeah.
I think that's what, I don't know, I just felt like I had a really deep appreciation of that. And I
Mm-hmm.
maybe think it also comes from knowing what it's like to not do that. And where, and
Mm.
maybe you can relate to this, you know, when you like you experience something and you go somewhere and you don't even remember because you haven't
Yeah,
had the space to process it. Like I've done
yeah.
that too, where I've literally like, I don't know, gone on an outing or something and I cannot tell you the details.
Yes, like what happened there is like, well, how was your weekend? How was your week? I'm like, boy, let me check my calendar. Well, why do I have to check my calendar to remember how my week was? It's crazy. It's crazy, you know.
Right?
There's so much need to happen that you forget everything that you did. I don't know.
But do you resonate with that? Like, do you ever find a difference between when you do things and you don't remember them, or when you
Mm.
do things and you do remember them? Like, what are the things that help you actually feel like you've been
Hmm.
able to be present in the doing?
That is a good question. What are things that help me to be present in the doing? I think it's just for me it's about catching my thoughts, because when I'm in a moment, I'm thinking of the next moment, or I'm thinking about how I can post this moment or how I can optimize this moment, if that makes sense. And I think just being kind of, I guess, doing content creation and different things along those lines, it's like as much as the moment is fun, I'm also thinking about, oh, how can I post this and share this with others and also remember this? Or even if I don't post it, it's like, how do I remember this for for all time? So for me it's constant. It's like a constant practice of like, okay, are we gonna record this or are we not gonna record this? Are we gonna be in the moment or are we not? You know, are you gonna take one picture and put your phone down, or are you not gonna take any pictures whatsoever? You know,
Mhm.
so for me it's about thinking about not thinking. It's weird because like it's natural, like you said, everything is always moving. I can't
Hmm.
necessarily control what I think about in any particular moment, but I can kind of guide it to the right place. And so that's kind of how it helps me, I would say. But yeah, to be honest, like I'm not an expert. Like that's definitely something that I can learn more about. And just what you said about moments of Ma, like I find that that's probably what I was gonna say unintentionally, but I'm intentionally doing that on train journeys now, I would say.
Mm.
My journey to, sometimes I go to Shepherd's Bush for work and stuff, and my journey to work is like an hour and a half. And in the, yeah, an hour and a half. And like I'm like, I could do so much with this time. And sometimes I do. I'm just like answering emails, my personal emails, whatever. But
Yeah.
other times, mostly on the way back, I'm like, yeah, I'm just not gonna do anything. I'm not even gonna listen to music, you know?
Mm.
and I'm just gonna watch everyone, and it's not easy though, because I feel like I should be doing something, or am I
Mm,
wasting time? And and just boredom, like we're just not really used to boredom anymore, which is
mm,
interesting.
mm.
Yeah. So I've just tried to do that a lot more, and not even fill the space, not even with phone calls or anything. So it's ongoing. It's ongoing. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think what
Yeah.
you're saying about like not filling space as well, I think
Yeah.
that speaks to how like I think it helps to name that thing of like moments of Ma, because Ma is an acknowledgement that space is not empty. Space has purpose. Like quiet
Mm.
has purpose. You can
Nice.
even speak to like if you're having a conversation with someone and there's an awkward silence, it's not
Mm-hmm.
awkward silence to fill, it's just a moment where you can actually
Yeah.
just take in what someone has said. And
Yeah.
I think that that principle really like how, yeah, I think it helps because it makes me think of a conversation I had with a couple of older people I was working on like a project, and they're like quite a bit older. I think one's in their 50s and the others in their 70s. And
Mm.
I was saying how, oh my goodness, time keeps feeling like it moves quicker. And I was like, do you feel that? Do you guys feel
Mm.
that? And they were like, oh, you feel it even more the older you get. They were like, trust,
Mm.
the older you get, the more time just like goes in a flash. And that
Interesting.
stayed with me because I have noticed that the older I get, it feels like time does feel
Mm-hmm.
like it's kind of blurring more.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I've been seeing friends I haven't seen in a couple of years. I've been catching up with
Mm-hmm.
them this week, and it doesn't feel like a couple of years is the same amount of time as it was a couple of years
Mm-hmm. Yeah, true, true.
ago.
Very true. Yeah.
And so I think that hasn't been lost with me, and so I think things like that just give that perspective of like, okay, if our sense of time and how we move through it kind of means that it's going to feel even more like it's a sieve.
Mm.
How do we grasp it? How do we use it meaningfully? And
Mm-hmm.
also, I guess, coming back to work, like, how do we protect the time we have around how much time our jobs occupy
Mm-hmm.
of our time
Mm-hmm.
too? And I'm
Yeah.
also speaking to friends where like, and you also actually might relate to this because I think when also we're in our 30s, sometimes there's that period where I think you see people reflecting on the career paths they've made and
Mm-hmm.
reflecting on whether like this is actually what they're passionate about, and realizing I've got
Mm.
the rest of my life, which actually doesn't seem that long now. How
Yeah.
do I actually align my 9 to 5 with the things that I
Yeah.
love, if
Yeah.
possible?
Yeah.
I'm seeing a lot of friends doing that as well.
Listen, this is the time for the quarter life crisis. I'm just saying, because for real, like in the 30s, I don't know what it is about the 30s, but I do feel like there's a lot of change that happens, or there's a lot of change that we see in and around us, like with people sort of um, moving country, perhaps, or, like you're saying, that life change is switching, not just switching jobs, but switching the countries that they live in, and
Yeah,
just looking for something that they don't have right now.
yeah,
Um, and just, I guess maybe that's kind of a moment where you realize, okay, I might settle in this space, and am I okay with the space that I'm settling in? And if the answer is no, then something dramatic or drastic needs to shift.
mm,
So it could be something like that, whereas maybe 20s are more just like trying to figure it out. We're still figuring it out, but
mm,
like I think the 30s, especially if you're talking about like settling down and all sorts of things, you're like, am I really gonna settle down in this environment, in this
yeah,
space, with all the concerns that I have about time? And
mm,
then yeah, the brave ones, the courageous ones make changes, and I wouldn't just call them the courageous ones. It's probably the ones that maybe have more possibly more flexibility, more opportunity, perhaps, to make changes. It's not easy, but I think, like, I mean, if I were to try and answer the question directly, like, how do we still back time when it feels like we don't have it? I almost would, and this goes back to kind of having moments to pause. I almost would think about doing an audit, like an audit of what's going on
mm,
in your life. Really important, like find time to think, man. Find time to think and do an audit of your life. Like, that
mm,
sounds really scary,
mm,
but actually what are the things that you complain about the most? I don't know where I last heard that, but that made such a difference to me. Like, okay, you're always saying you're tired. Okay, does that mean you need to sleep more, babe? You know what I mean? Like, you're always going to be tired. And if you keep doing the same things, or, oh, I really wish I really wish I did this, or why don't I do more of this? Then do more of that.
Mm.
Sometimes what you need is kind of seen through what you complain about,
Mm.
Um, yeah. So an audit would probably help you steal time back, but also just like maybe surrounding ourselves with people who we aspire to be like, or admire their kind of the lifestyle of,
Mm.
and maybe just ask some questions, man. Like, I don't think
Mm.
we ask questions enough. We're exposed so much to people's lives on socials. And I don't know if why we don't reach out and be like, hey, how did you do that? you know
Right.
Sometimes just ask them. They might give you some good answers. And I guess you would know as well, Tembi, like with the communities that you're part of, like the mentoring that you do, like all sorts of things, because you
Yeah.
asked,
Yeah.
you know?
You have to. No, I think that's so important. And
Yeah.
I want to go back to the audit a little bit. Like, have
Yeah.
you actually done that before? And if so, what did that look like?
So I think I've done that before, but I would say I've done it in a more bite-sized way. I tend to find that like it's normally when I'm in a situation that I'm not happy with, like if I'm at a particular job that I don't like, or if I'm doing a really really mundane task I'm just questioning my life. Like, I'm not very good at the sort of day-to-day things. I'm always thinking big picture. So
Hmm.
it's normally in those moments where I didn't plan to do an audit that I'm all of a sudden doing an audit.
Okay.
Today being one of those examples. Like, today was a day where I was like at work thinking, girl, like what there's a lot of things occupying your mind. Like, what's going on? Are you okay? What's happening here?
Mm.
And from what I realized from that is, there's a lot of things that I want from life. There's a lot of ways that I want to feel. There's a lot of things I want to do that I'm not necessarily doing, and I'm using the excuse of like not having enough time, you know
Mm. Hmm.
when really it's I'm just scared of doing. Does that make sense? Like, I'm scared of what could come of doing this. I'm scared
Mm.
of the fact that, it's different. Like, I've wanted a dream for so long, or I've wanted these things for so long, but I don't actually know how to do that. And I don't know what would
Mm.
happen if I were to do that. I'm
Mm.
so used to this, and at
Mm.
least I'm used to it, so I know what to expect. And I think that really just made me feel like, okay, it's okay. It's okay to be fearful. It's okay to be scared. It's okay to be a bit slower out of the gate, this year. But you still need to do it though. You know what I mean? Like, you still need to do that, because otherwise next week, next month, you're going to be complaining about the same things. So I
And
think
is
my
it enough
audit.
of a motivation for you? Sorry to cut you.
No, say that again.
Is it enough of a is it enough for you to know that you're going to be complaining about the same thing next week? Because some people might
Mm,
ask themselves that question of like, why don't you do it? Or like just do it. But then the thing of like you're going to be complaining about it again might not hit
mm,
home enough to actually get them to do it. If you know what I mean. Like,
yeah, yeah,
is that enough for
absolutely.
you? Like, or like, yeah, how? Yeah.
I mean, I think we are used to complaining. Like, we kind of like complaining, It's an easy thing to do. Like, the weather was bad and all sorts of things. We can complain, but I think it's about the extent of your complaints, and kind of understanding whether that complaint is based on something that's really deeply rooted. Like, I really want this from my life, or whether it's just, yeah, this sucks, but I can deal with it.
Right.
So for me, it's about kind of differentiating that, and that's actually part of what I've been trying to do. It's like, "Ah, I want this, I want this, I want this." I'm like, no, but do you really? Because you don't want to do the work for it. So
Yeah.
maybe you don't want it that much.
Yeah.
Maybe you're still looking at plan Bs.
Mm.
So is it enough to just say you'll be complaining about it next month? No, definitely not. I think it's more about your why. Like, why do you want to steal back time?
Mm.
Why do you want to change your life? Why do you want to, even if you want to change a small bit of your life, why
Mm.
do you want to do that? And I do find that, understanding your why really helps you to move forward in a more intentional way. I realized today, oh, not today, yesterday, like, my dad is gonna be 68 in a
Wow.
few weeks. 68,
It
you
looks
know.
so well.
That's so good. I was like, oh my gosh, like, that is such an old number, but it doesn't match you. It doesn't
It
match your
doesn't.
face,
It really doesn't.
you know. But I spent this whole year, going back to, time and how quickly it goes, and it's like a sieve. I spent this whole year thinking my dad was 66, by the way. Like, I was speaking to my sister and I was like, how old is dad? And she's like, oh yeah, he's 66. I'm like, he's actually not. He's 67. Oh, we didn't know for this whole year. And I'm like, wow. It just makes me think about time. And like,
Yeah.
at some point something's gonna have to change. And if you don't want it to change, then be comfortable with that. Be
Be
accepting.
honest.
Be
Yeah.
accepting. Yes. Be honest. Be accepting and keep it pushing.
Yeah.
Yeah. What
No,
about you?
like I think there's so many truths to that, and I think the one
Mm,
key thing as well that I think I've been also reflecting on is how you were saying it is scary when you have to do an audit. That's
yeah.
so true. I was also thinking about this in terms of like also complaining about and feeling resentful even about how much
Mm,
time I don't have to
mm,
do the things that I care about, which is always writing. I'm like, oh, I don't have enough time to write. I don't have enough time to
mhm.
write. So I
Yes.
complain. And
Yeah.
my friend was like, have you ever just like written out a breakdown of how long it takes you to actually do things? Like not just like the writing itself, but
Mm.
also how long it takes to shower, to make breakfast, to do all those things.
Oh.
And the idea of doing that actually made me feel deeply uncomfortable. So
I
I
was
did
like,
not want to do
what?
that because it's really confronting, just like having to look
Mm,
at a breakdown of like, and also it's actually
mm,
scary. I think it really scared me.
mm.
Like it was actually psychologically like, I don't know if I can do that. Like I was just like, yeah,
Yeah.
I maybe I'll do a light version to start off with. No summary.
Not the light
To
version.
say, I've still not done a full breakdown. I need maybe someone to hold my hand, walk me through it, because
Yeah.
psychologically, I'm not gonna lie, that is a speed bump for me. That is a huge little
Mm.
mountain to climb. And I think
Why?
the reason, yeah,
Okay,
I
go ahead.
think the reason why it scares me is because it feels really confronting. It feels like once I see very clearly and plainly about how
Mm.
long it takes me to do things, I'm gonna have to make some real adjustments. I think that's the truth of it. And right now, the idea of that feels like I don't even have the capacity to do it. I
Yeah.
feel like this is perpetuating the problem.
Yeah, yeah.
Because I'm not even scared of going for like the things that matter to me. And thank God, like I do know my why, and my why
Mm.
really does help me do a lot of things and like have boundaries as well over my time.
Mm. Mm.
But I think the thing that I lie about myself to is actually the things that get in the way of my why. And I think maybe there's part of
Mm.
me that's scared that when I see the breakdown of like how much of my time is on other things and not the writing, it's also going to bring up the reality on some extent that like these are things I need to do or maybe can't change. At least not right now when
Mhm.
I want to change them now. So for example, like if I looked at how long it takes me to get ready for work, let alone do the work day, I think looking at that would make me I already said I'm frustrated by how much time I don't have to write, but I think looking at it would deepen that
You'll be
in
like,
a
yeah,
way
see?
that,
Look at that.
yeah,
Yeah.
in a way that would probably make me just want to like not do it. And so I think actually it's a
Mm.
really powerful thing to do in audit because
Yeah.
it's important. And I think what you're saying, I agree with that. If you want to live your life in a way that aligns with what really matters to you,
Mhm.
you can't shortcut that. You can't skip
Mm.
past the uncomfortable bits. You can't skip past the uncomfortable bits. And I think what you said speaks to that because you do have to also face things that are uncomfortable, like time. And I think you also have to just be confronted with a lot of things that might feel like they're going to shake up your everyday. But then you also have to know that that discomfort is worth whatever your why is. And I think when we end
Mm.
up doing things that just occupy our time and are just like coasting,
Mhm.
it's maybe because we've been disconnected from the why, or maybe you don't know it anymore, or maybe it's changed. But okay, I'm gonna be really like maybe a bit too multi-layered about it, but why is the why so important?
Mm. Mm. Why is the why so important?
Yeah.
Because I want to try and answer for me. I feel like when I knew my why a few years ago, it
Mm,
drove me to do. It drove
Mm-hmm.
me to move and like the busyness and everything. It was fine. It was okay because I knew what my why was. So I don't know. I feel like your why drives you. Whereas now when I'm trying to assess what the why is and not necessarily understanding if the why is the same or if it's changed, that has automatically slowed me all the way down,
Yeah.
you know. And I think it's because I don't know my why. I mean, I don't know about other people, you know, but for me, I think why is essential to doing what you need to do. But why is the why important? Could why be unimportant? Could you still do the things without having a why, without having a reason? I don't know. Are we wired that way? I don't know if we're wired to work our hardest unless we know the reason why we're doing it. I don't know.
Or even not working hard. Or sometimes like your why might be the reason why you choose a slower paced life or a life that is not part of this
Yeah.
hustle and go go go.
Yeah. Yeah, so yeah, exactly. So like your why, like you're saying, it doesn't have to be why are you working harder or why are you doing more and da, da, da. Your why could be like why are you slowing down, but you know, at the end of the day, it's still the why, you know. I find like people that have kids have more drive to do or not to do, you know, with less time,
Yeah,
by
I've
the way.
noticed that too. I've noticed that too. Yeah.
With less time, which is a scary part. It makes me think like what the heck, like I can do more or do less or whatever, you know. I can make my time more impactful to what is important to me, um because I don't have a kid yet, which means I have more time,
Hmm.
you know. But my why is maybe a bit skewed.
Mhm.
So yeah, what do you think? Do you think the why is important, or could you think we could have the same desires without the why? I don't know.
I think the why is like the foundation, you know? And
uh
I think without it, at least from a personal perspective, I think it's you're kind of floating and
exactly.
just kind of going with the flow, um,
Yeah.
without really knowing why.
Mm.
And I think sometimes someone's why can be externally driven, where it's like other people tell you this is why you should do this. You should be rich because people
Mm.
will respect you. You should,
Mhm.
have this kind of job because it will provide you with security. And I think actually this brings me back to a point I was going to make when you were speaking too as well. It's important for the why to be tested. And I feel like
Mm.
you don't live a full life unless your why has been tested.
Mm.
And I think sometimes people's whys are tested when they've gone down a certain career path and then found that it's not fulfilling.
Yeah.
And even after they've been told that this is the thing to do, this is going to be like the job to have, and it's
Yeah.
celebrated by everyone. But
Yeah.
deep down, you know yourself, like, I don't love it as much as people feel like I should.
Mm. Mhm.
Maybe I think that's a level of like your why being tested is like,
Mhm.
yes, everyone said this is big, but is it for you?
Mm.
I think it yeah, it kind of goes back to that thing of like you living a life that you've actually like explored for yourself and like made meaningful for yourself, you know?
Mhm. Mhm.
Mm. And yeah, I think that's why I'd say it's important that it allows you to be able to say this is why I, Tembi, or
Mm.
I, Izzy, wake up or strive for this specific thing, be
Mhm.
it a big like dream or
Mhm.
be it to live a life of like softness, or both.
Mm.
I
Mhm. Both, man.
think,
That would be nice. That would be so nice.
and I think when
Yeah.
you mention about parents, actually in a way that doesn't surprise me because I guess when you are a parent, they already are tight on time and
Mhm.
they probably have a more like exaggerated understanding of like
Mhm.
just life because they're seeing their kids
Mhm.
grow up so quickly and they're having to
Mhm.
juggle so much that
Mhm.
whatever they do then take on top of raising humans,
Mm.
it better be important,
Yes, it
like
better
it
be
better
worth my
be big.
time.
It better be worth my time because their
Mhm.
why is literally
Mhm.
running around the house sometimes.
Exactly.
It's very clear.
Literally.
And
Yeah.
I think, and it makes me think of like other people I've noticed who have like very clear ambitions
Mhm.
and have discipline. And
Mm.
you can see that that discipline is because they really know whatever thing I'm going to be allowing to take away from this thing I'm pursuing, it better be
Mm.
important. Otherwise, please move
Mhm.
out my way. And I
Mm.
have to
That's what
say,
I'm trying to have. I need that energy. I don't have it. I need it though. Yeah.
I'm trying to have it as well. I think I'm
Mm.
trying to. I think what's helped a little bit is like when I did my vision board and things for the years, also thinking about the consequences of not doing those things
Mm.
and sitting with that and being like, okay, if I don't do this by the end of this year, how will I actually feel about it?
Yeah.
And for some of it, it hurt more than others. Some of it, I was like,
Mm.
if I'm being honest, like, you know, but
Mhm.
with the things that really mattered, I made it really clear. And I think it just helped me to be really honest with myself
Yeah.
about what I actually care about.
That's really good. That's really good because I've not once thought like, what if I don't achieve all these things on my vision board? I mean, considering my vision board is quite like there's a lot. It's quite audacious, as in there's a lot there that I'm like, this might not happen. But I've put it there anyway because that's what I want. But I haven't actually thought about how I would feel if it didn't happen, and maybe that could be a potential indicator as to how much effort I might put into it, or just like yeah, maybe how much effort I put into it, but just like how I will feel when it does happen. Maybe I guess it works both ways, how you'd feel if it doesn't happen versus how you feel if it does, because it means so much to you. Yeah, so I'm gonna do that after this call. I'm gonna see how am I gonna feel if I don't do XYZ,
Mm,
and let that be the factor that kind of pushes me or propels me, so yeah, I like that. I had a question for you though.
mm.
um because you were talking about how you know your why already, and then you started to talk about boundaries. I'm curious about like how did you find your why? You don't have to share your why if you don't want to, but like how did you find that why? And then like what boundaries do you have in place at the moment, that could help
That's
us?
a really good question. I
Yeah.
think I'm going to ask it back to you as well.
Okay.
Mm, I think for me, I feel quite fortunate in I think I knew my why quite early, and
Mm,
I think it came about through conversations with someone who just came into my life at a random point just before I went to uni, I think, or maybe I was in sixth
mm,
form, and we just like had got into these random like deep conversations about like just like creative things, and they'd ask me like what is it that I really love doing, what is the thing that
mm,
I can just do forever and feel fulfilled by it. And that was clearly for me writing.
mm,
And I think having that clarity that young helped to shape like what I went to study at uni, thankfully, which I loved, and
mm,
just the things that I've built and gone on to do. And I think I've always had a clear kind of anchoring in being a creative person.
mm,
Um, and I think it does also help when people around you also reflect that back to you, and people say like, oh, they
yeah.
know me, they know that I've always been creative, I've always been this kind of person. I
Mm-hmm.
think that that helped to reinforce the clarity. It would
Mm.
have been different. Other people were like, you sure?
Are
You
you
sure?
sure? It's like going to X Factor and you can't sing. I'm like, those friends need to be put in jail because
It's so
that's rude.
rude.
How are you just gonna make your friend go to X Factor and they can't sing? Like I always think about the friends when I hear those singers, but
Yeah.
I digress.
No, and so
Yeah.
yeah, I think that helped. And then I think over the years I've tested it, I've revisited it where like,
Mm.
and I think where it's been tested is where like, yeah, either I'm like choosing what job I'm going to apply for, or
Mm.
I've worked on a creative thing and it didn't turn out as I wanted, or it didn't
Yeah.
bring the outcomes that I expected.
Yeah.
And I guess that feels a little bit disappointing. And then does
Mm.
that disappointment mean I want to quit the thing, or does it just mean I'm sad because it didn't get to a certain level?
Yeah.
And I think I've learned that even if certain things don't get to be seen, I just love this and I like
Mm.
care about it. And I obviously would love it to be seen because I also actually don't write for myself. I write because I
Mm.
like to connect with people. That's a big part of my why. That's my why.
Yeah.
But at the same time, if it didn't come with certain, I guess, accolades, that wouldn't matter to me It
Mm,
matters more that I'm doing it and that I am engaging with it, that I'm deepening my understanding of it,
mm,
and spend my time on it. And
mm.
I'm remembered for it. That's the thing that I think for. I'm
Yeah,
like, what do I want to be remembered for? And for
that's so
me,
nice.
that's the thing I want to be remembered for.
Oh,
One of
that's
them.
beautiful.
Yeah.
Love
What
that.
about you?
I don't remember the question. I won't lie to you.
Um, how do you pro Oh, actually, I don't know if I even answered about how do I protect boundaries around the why.
Yeah, true.
If I can quickly summarize, I would
Yeah.
say it's like f making sure that in a day I've dedicated some time to it. So usually in the morning,
Mm,
I'll set my alarm so that I have at least 10, even 10 minutes to write in the morning, in my
okay.
phone notes. Or if I don't manage that, then before I go to sleep at night, I'll do
Mm,
that. And that feels like, okay, I've done the thing that I want to do, even if it was for 5 or 10 minutes. And that actually helps me. And then this year, I'm trying to be better at it in terms of just actually saying no to social things, and saying yes to boredom because actually I need moments of
mm,
just to
mm.
process ideas so that
Oh my gosh, that
it can
part.
feed so it can feed into my creative process.
That part.
Um, so I need to be held accountable for that. That is something I'm intending to do this year more, is just
Mm,
actually have more nothingness so that I have
mm,
space to do it. And when I'm thinking about, oh, why am I sitting in my house feeling bored in this moment when I could be out with my friends? My why will be because this is the thing that matters at the end of the day. I love my friends and I will
mm,
be there.
mm.
I don't have to be there every single time.
No,
I
you
also
don't.
need to do the writing.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Or have the space to think. Like,
Yeah.
honestly,
Yeah,
that
and
is
I would
that would
also
quite.
say, sorry, just to add the last thing, I think it has also informed me being more diligent with clocking off at 5. Like when I finish my day job,
Mm,
I'm not doing extra time. I'm
mm,
doing enough, sometimes a
mm,
little bit more, but
mm-hmm,
I'm not
mm,
trying to use all my energy on the 9 to 5.
mm-hmm,
I
mm-hmm,
that I've been more strict about that because
mm-hmm,
like this is not the thing that
mm.
I'm remembered for.
That's great.
Not
Yeah,
all.
it's true. You have to think about what you want to be remembered for. If you want to be remembered for what you do in your 9 to 5, that's maybe a bit
Yeah,
different. That's a different
yeah,
approach, right? But if
yeah.
this is to pay the bills and like, yeah, I enjoy doing some of this, but it's not my purpose or eventual goal,
Mm,
then your actions have to reflect that respectfully, you
mm,
know? But yeah, so the question is about my why, I think.
mm.
Um
Oh yeah, how
almost
did you find your why? How did you find it?
yeah.
Yeah.
How did I find it? I mean, I think my why is something that I'm still looking into. I think I had a why. I think the why now might not be the same. Or and the reason why I say it's not the same, I think is because my effort is different.
Mm,
My work ethic is different, So that tells me that the why is different. Like I don't want to just say that, oh, this is what I like to do, or this is what my why is, because that's what it's always been.
mm,
Um, because I can very much see that my actions are not reflecting that.
mm,
So I'm trying to figure out like, has it changed because I don't think this goal is going to happen, or has it changed because maybe I'm seeing the downsides to some of my whys,
mm,
and assessing that actually, yeah, maybe that's not something I necessarily want or thought I wanted as much. So yeah, to answer that, I don't know if I found 100% my why, to be honest with you. At the moment, I'm kind of, for myself, I'm acting like, like you do a law degree and everyone's like, yeah, this degree is great and you should do it because it's amazing, and everyone's praising you for it. I feel like I'm doing that to myself. Like I feel like I'm praising myself for kind of things that I feel like is good, but then
mhm,
internally it's like, are you just saying that? Like, why are you saying that?
mm,
So there's a bit of a disconnection at the moment, I would say. Um,
mm,
you know so that's kind of what will be part of my audits going forward. um in terms of kind of how do I put boundaries in place, just in general, I think, yeah, last year I definitely burnt out with just working loads of hours, um and maybe just kind of, especially being new to something, being new to a job, or whatever, you want to impress, you want to make sure you're getting
yeah.
it right. And I spent a lot of last year just, I guess, having imposter syndrome and not really knowing if I'm here for the right reasons or if they brought me in for the right reasons.
Mm.
Um, and then when I got over that, and it was like, oh, okay, you passed probation, and people will actually compliment you on the job that you've done, and people are actually giving you direct feedback about how you've helped them. I'm like, oh yeah, absolutely, I can do this job. However, I'm not going to do it in the same way that I did it last year.
Mm.
Like we're clocking off, like you said, around 5 or maybe sometime after that. I'm stating what I need, and being very clear about that because it's sort of like, mate, if this isn't gonna happen, I'm out.
Yeah.
Respectfully. Like being maybe more intentional about kind of what would be the outcome if I put all my cards on the table. You know what I
Mm.
mean? Whereas before, I don't necessarily think I was doing that.
Mm.
Um, and maybe that was my why. It's like I would rather not be here in this space
Mm.
if it means this is going to happen, like my mental health or whatever, right? Um, Even if I don't even know the outcome of leaving, you
Yeah.
know, all I know is that I don't like this, and yeah, something needs to change.
Mm.
So that's kind of given me a bit more kind of oomph, maybe more confidence. Like, wow, I'm actually okay with just the outcomes. I'm okay with either outcomes right now. So
Yeah.
that gives me a bit more kind of freedom to say like, yeah, I'm clocking off now.
Mm.
I'm going home, and that being kind of respected because what you do in the 9 to 5 is a good job, kind of thing.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Because I think that's the important part. It's like, don't do the bare minimum. I mean, listen, everyone's going through it. It's not easy. It's not easy. But para me, like, as for me, I feel like I can't necessarily be in a job and do a bad job. Like, I'd rather just quit than do a bad job, you know? Um, you give, and then what you give is, what's the word I'm trying to say? It's like a give and take type of thing.
Yeah.
So if people can respect what you do, then you can also state your boundaries as well.
For sure. And I think either way, like, I think you're sacrificing something, right? As well in
Mm,
the giving, or like giving also means like taking, or you're sacrificing something. So when
yeah.
you choose to have a 9 to 5, you're sacrificing a little bit more freedom,
Yeah.
but in some ways you also gain freedom through like the
Mm.
security of having a 9 to 5. And
Mm-hmm.
then on the flip side, if you have a freelance life, you're sacrificing that security, but you
Mm-hmm.
get to have that full flexibility and maybe more time to actually do the
Mm-hmm.
things you want to do. And I
Mm-hmm.
think either way, like whatever choice we make, whatever we do in how we use our time, I think the reason why we're having this conversation, what it comes down to is just know why.
Mm-hmm. Just
Just
know
do
why,
the
man.
audit. Just do that audit at the end of the
Mm.
day and see if the person on paper reflects the person that is your soul.
Mm. I'm looking at your face. I was like, we're gonna let it land, but I saw your face. I was just like, Tammy's like, did that work? I was ready to go with it to the end, just so you know, girl. But yeah, totally. I love that.
Well, I guess to wrap up our final episode of season 3, I actually want to ask, and this is quite a random one, but
Okay.
what is like one thing that you want to celebrate or you're proud of doing in this season, from this season that we've done?
Oh, what is one thing that I'm proud of from the somewhat grown season?
Yeah, from this season, this third season, or
Hmm.
something that you want to like highlight or celebrate or just acknowledge.
Yeah. So last 10 seasons, so that would have been the whole of 2025.
Hmm.
I want to celebrate the consistency. Like we've been doing the once a month, like we've been doing it. And
But why?
like why? I don't know why. Like what is that why?
You don't know why?
Like what's that why? I'm joking. I'm joking, I'm joking, I'm joking. It's been very important to me for us to do this. And be consistent, but also just like, yeah, just catch up, like you and I catching up in general, and then also relaying our thoughts to everyone else. And yeah, I'm proud of that. I'm proud of that because 2025 was was, I think what I called it was balanced. Like there were a lot of highs, there were a lot of lows. And oh my gosh, it was just hectic, man. Like being from one house to another, going from one job to another, getting engaged, being made redundant, like having another job that was chaotic. And I was just like, yo, there's a lot
Yeah.
happening this year. But yeah, I'm proud of the consistency. Yeah.
Me too.
Yeah.
Me too. I would agree with that.
Mm,
I'm proud that we're still here, that we still did it. Yo,
mm.
people don't know the background flops or like just like struggles and challenges just to get
Yeah.
to record.
True.
It's really not
True.
it's not easy. It's like really,
True.
really not. But
Yeah.
I also just celebrate like our flexibility around it and just making it work when we can. And
Mm.
we look forward to continuing to do that.
You know, I just want to commend Tembi's determination because it's much higher than my own. I just want to put it out there.
Really?
I just want to say it at the moment. It's just in this moment. Because wow, like just going back to the recordings and stuff, like, oh my gosh, sometimes the platform's not working, sometimes the microphone's not working. Sometimes there's something not working. Tembi will fight to the
Oh,
end to record that podcast. Whereas me, I'm like, guys, we call it a day, like, we'll go again next time. Tembi will fight to the end and eventually it will work. So I rate it. I respect it. I respect it. So yeah, it taught me a lot this season. Because I'm like, come on, let's just move on to another week. Like, Timmy's like, nope, this is what we said we gonna do. We gonna do it.
no,
So
but
well done.
sometimes actually like you actually need to learn to call it a day. I think that's something. No, it's not even like a bad thing. I actually think it's important to know when to call it a day because sometimes you might push through and the energy's not even there. Let's actually talk facts. So I think balance is important.
Balance. Yeah. That part. Let's go together. True. Anywho, thanks everyone.
Thank you. See you next time.
Next time.
Thanks again for listening to Somewhat Grown. What should we cover next? Email us at somewhatgrown@gmail.com. We'd love to hear your thoughts. You can also connect with us. On YouTube, search somewhat_grown. On TikTok, find us at somewhat.grown. On Instagram, follow @_somewhatgrown. To follow us personally, find me, Tembi, @Tembi Rain on Instagram and X, and Izzy is @itsizzyeze everywhere. Catch you next time.